Mark Levin went on Fox News and he showed why he continues to be one of the absolute dumbest right-wing hosts. I understand it's a difficult thing to be the dumbest among that bunch, but if he ain't it, he's close. Watch this.
And they want all of America to bail out New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and California's pension systems. And meanwhile, their biggest supporters, the teachers' unions, are like Orville Faubus and George Wallace, standing in the school doorways, not allowing our little kids to go to school because they won't follow the science. Right, Dr. Fauci? Follow the science. Follow the science. Well, the science says open the schools, but the Democrats won't. Why? Chaos.
He's saying that teachers are like segregationists because teachers don't want to open the schools because of a pandemic. Whereas segregationists didn't want to open the schools because they wanted to make sure we continued segregation. They took a stand to say we must separate white people and black people. So I want to close the school until we can have segregation now and segregation forever. His argument is, well, they both wanted to close schools. So obviously teachers are like segregationists. Imagine not wanting to die because of COVID-19, and simply because you don't want to die, you're accused of being like a segregationist. I mean, he's just a hyperbolic jackass. That's what he is. He's a hyperbolic jackass. Now, this clip was like 4 minutes long. You just saw the end of it when he made this brilliant comparison. But he's so ruthlessly partisan, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, you can't understand why it is that teachers and teachers' unions, some of them want to keep the schools closed. You don't get that? Guys, there were a couple pictures that went viral from a Georgia school. The hallways were packed. There were very few masks. People were literally shoulder to shoulder in the hallway. So that school opened up. They just had to close it back down. Why? Because 9 people had COVID. If you keep it open, everybody's going to have COVID. And then you're going to have an even bigger outbreak because all those people from the school go home. Whose mom is going to get it? Whose dad is going to get it? Whose grandma is going to get it? When they go to the store to get some food after they had just contracted it from their kid, how many people at the store are going to get it? So on and so forth. But no, it's fake. It's fake. There was something that popped up where some people were trying to argue like, oh, maybe this doesn't impact kids. Nonsense. There's already been 1,000 stories about, daycares where it's been passed throughout the daycare. So it does affect kids. Generally speaking, do kids recover better because they're younger? Yes. But we still don't know enough, man. And my default assumption is this virus will act like other viruses in terms of how it's passed from person to person. And the evidence that we have at the moment does suggest that. Kids do get affected differently in the sense of, there was like very young kids get some inflammatory syndrome, for example. So it has different effects on different people, but it's still really bad. And it's still not just kids who would get it at school. It would be spread well beyond that. But even if it was just kids getting it, it still is not okay. That's not a thing. And it's like, oh, that's just that is happening. What do you mean just that? Why would we be okay with kids getting COVID? So it's just, we have, this country collectively has the IQ of a gnat. I love how we're debating whether or not to open the schools, and then some schools open, immediately spreads COVID, and then they shut them down like, oh, man, can't believe that happened. What do you mean you can't believe it happened? Of course it was going to happen. Obviously. So, but it's okay because you are like a segregationist for not wanting to die of COVID. This is from the brilliant Mark Levin.